So let's keep reading and see what Stargirl gets herself into this time. Let's start with chapter 5. The call came from Kevin on a Friday night. He was at the football game. Quick, hurry, drop whatever you're doing, now! Kevin was one of the few who went to the games. The school kept threatening to drop football because of low attendance. They said ticket sale receipts were barely enough to pay for electricity to light the field. But Kevin was screaming on the phone. I jumped in the family pickup and raced to the stadium. I bolted from the truck. Kevin was at the gate, windmilling his arms. Hurry! I threw the $2 admission at the ticket window and we raced for the field. See better up here, he said, yanking me into the stands. It was halftime. The band was on the field, all 14 of them. Among the students, it was known as the world's smallest standing band. There wasn't enough of them to form a recognizable letter or shape, except for a capital I, so they didn't march much at half times of games. They mostly stood. In 2 rows of 7 each, plus the student conductor, no majorettes, no color guard, no flag, and rifle girls. Except this night. This night, Stargirl Caraway was on the field with them. As they played, rooted in their places, she pranced along the grass with her bare feet and long lemon-yellow dress. She roamed from goalpost to goalpost. She swirled like a dust devil. She marched stiffly like a wooden soldier. She tootled an imaginary flute. She pogoed in the air and knocked her bare heels together. The cheerleaders gaped from the sidelines. A few people in the stands whistled. The rest, they barely outnumbered the band, sat there with this "what is this" look on their faces. The band stopped playing and marched off the field. Stargirl stayed. She was twirling down the 40-yard line when the players returned. They did a minute of warm-up exercises. She joined in. Jumping jacks, belly whomps. The team lined up for the second half kickoff. The ball perched on the kicking tee. She was still on the field. The referee blew his whistle, pointed to her. He flapped his hands for her to go away. Instead, she dashed for the ball. She plucked it off the tee and danced with it, spinning and hugging it and hoisting it into the air. The players looked at their coaches. The coaches looked at the officials. The officials blew their whistles and began converging on her. The sole policeman on duty headed for the field. She punted the ball over the visiting team's bench and ran from the field and out of the stadium. Everyone cheered. The spectators, the cheerleaders, the band, the players, the officials, the parents running the hot dog stand, the policeman, me. We whistled and stomped our feet on the aluminum bleachers. The cheerleaders stared up in delighted surprise. For the first time, they were hearing something come back from the stands. They did cartwheels and backflips and even a 3-tier pyramid. Old-timers, or as old as timers got in the city as young as Micah, said they had never heard such a racket. For the next home game, more than 1,000 people showed up. Everyone but Wayne Parr and Hillary Kimball. There was a line in the ticket window. The refreshment stand ran out of hot dogs. A second policeman was called in. The cheerleaders were in their glory. They screamed to the bleachers, "Give me an E!" And the bleachers screamed back, "E!" We were the Electrons, in honor of the town's electronics heritage. The cheerleaders ran through all their routines before the first quarter was over. The band was loud and peppy. The football team even scored a touchdown. In the stands, heads kept swinging to the edges of the field, to the entrance, to the street lamp-lighted darkness behind the stadium. The sense of expectation grew as the first half came to a close. The band marched smartly onto the field. Even they were looking around. The musicians did their program. They even formed a small lopsided circle. They seemed to linger on the field, drawing out their notes, waiting. Finally, reluctantly, they marched onto the sideline. The players returned. They kept glancing around as they did during their warm-up. When the referee raised his hands and blew the whistle for the second half to begin, a sense of disappointment fell over the stadium. The cheerleader's shoulders sagged. She wasn't coming. On the following Monday, we got a shock in the lunchroom. Bleach blonde and beautiful Mallory Stillwell, captain of the cheerleaders, was sitting with Stargirl. She sat with her, ate with her, talked with her, walked out with her. By sixth period, the whole school knew. Stargirl had been invited to become a cheerleader and had said yes. People in Phoenix must have heard us buzzing. Would she wear the usual skirt and sweater like everyone else? Would she do the usual cheers? Did all of the cheerleaders want this, or was it just the captain's idea? Were they jealous? Cheerleading practice drew a crowd. At least 100 of us stood by the parking lot that day, watching her learn the cheers, watching her jump around in her long pioneer dress. She spent 2 weeks practicing. Halfway through the second week, she wore the uniform: green trimmed white v neck cotton sweater, short green and white pleated skirt. She looked just like the rest of them. Still, to us, she was not truly a cheerleader, but Stargirl dressed like one. She continued to strum her ukulele and to sing happy birthday to people. She still wore long skirts on non-game days and made a home of her school desks. When Halloween arrived, everyone in her homeroom found a candy pumpkin on his or her desk. No one had to ask who did it. But by then, most of us had decided that we liked having her around. We found ourselves looking forward to coming to school and seeing what bizarre antics she'd be up to. She gave us something to talk about. She was entertaining. At the same time, we held back, because she was different. Different. We had no one to compare her to, no one to measure her against. She was unknown territory, unsafe. We were afraid to get too close. Also, I think we were all waiting to see the outcome of an event that loomed larger and larger with every passing day. The next birthday coming up was Hillary Kimball. All right, let's see what happens next.